welcome back to another episode of the Neighborhood Kitchen. Man, do I have a show for you tonight. This is going to blow your friggin' mind. So, I haven't done one of these things in a while, so I figured I'd give you a little special treat. Earlier in the week, I dropped an episode of the Kitchen Quickie. I made it themed towards Valentine's Day. I showed you how to make Butterfingers. Well, you know what? I'm going to continue the theme. So, in tonight's episode of the Neighborhood Kitchen, if you can notice, I got my official pizza hat on from Chicago. No, I'm not going to show you how to make deep dish pizza, but you're in the ballpark. I am going to show you how to make pizza, but not from Chicago. I'm actually going to show you how to make Detroit-style pizza. Now, I'm really excited about this. I've been itching to do this for a couple of weeks. I wanted to do it for Super Bowl, but I bought the wrong fucking yeast for my dough, so I had to, go get it and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I figured this is a better opportunity to make it for Valentine's Day. Because nothing says loving like something hot and saucy from the oven. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so Detroit-style pizza is a new... well, it's not new. I mean, it's fucking common in Detroit. But it is a new phase or new pizza fad that's kind of sweeping the nation. Within the last couple of years, I want to say about last year or two, it started to make its way out of Michigan and slowly been finding its way across the country. Every major city, with the exception of Philadelphia, has their own riff on pizza. Now there's, New York, which that's the absolute undisputed king of pizza, right? And in New York, there's two different styles of pizza. You got the round, thin crust Napolitan, and then you got the Sicilian style pan pizza, which is a big rectangular pie. And it's got a nice, light, airy, charred type of crust. Now, Sicilian pizza actually is an inspiration for a lot of pizzas in other cities. For example, Chicago deep dish, right? It's in a pan. I mean, granted, yeah, it's round. I understand. And I fucking love Chicago deep dish. But it was inspired by Sicilian pizza. Same with Detroit. Now, Detroit does things a little different. Now, I myself have been to Detroit a number of times. I've never actually had the pizza. I didn't even really know that there was a regional pizza in Detroit. I just recently, been made aware of it, and I've been reading up on it, and it sounds pretty interesting, and I can't wait to try it. So, this is going to be a first for me, too. So, for those of you that don't know, I grew up in a pizzeria. So, this slinging dough is not exactly, foreign to me. So, a Detroit-style pizza takes its inspiration from a Sicilian pie. It's got a couple differences. A Sicilian pie, like I said, it's got a nice lighter, airier crust. And it actually has a crust, a perimeter around the pizza. It's cooked in a shallow pan. It's got a little perimeter. Detroit-style pizza, you cook it in one of these Detroit-style pans. Now, you don't have to go out and buy a Detroit-style pizza pan. I mean, I did because I'm a little mentally irregular. But if you use a nice, deep, rectangular cake pan, or you can even use like a cast iron pan, that works too. The trick with Detroit pizza is... well, the dough is pretty simple. It's made pretty much the same way you would make any kind of Sicilian-style pizza dough. You don't have to go too crazy with flour and stuff like that. You just use, regular all-purpose flour, rapid rising yeast or fast rising yeast, and you're good to go. I'm going to show you how to make the dough from scratch too. And the thing with Detroit-style pizza is, aside from the crust being, a thick pan crust, which is actually supposed to be light and fluffy on the inside, so let's hope that happens. The cheese goes edge to edge. It's got like a cheese crust, which is really like, right up my alley because I love cheese. So typically, pepperoni's the way to go in Detroit, and they put their toppings on the crust first, and then you lay the cheese. And the interesting thing is the sauce is not a base, it's a condiment. So instead of the sauce being on the crust, it goes across the top. It's fucking crazy. But wait till you see how this thing goes together. So, like I said, you want to get yourself one of these Detroit pans if you want. You can get them on Amazon. They're actually pretty cheap. I got a 13 by 9 here. They have a smaller one, but you want the bigger one. If you don't want to buy a Detroit pan, that's okay. Like I said, a rectangular deep dish cake pan or a cast iron pan. I do not recommend using glass because glass is going to crack. The distinctive thing about a Detroit crust is the dough sort of fries in the pan, because you're gonna line the fucking inside of the pan with olive oil, so the crust kind of fries in it. I mean, you can tell I'm excited by this, because this is just, I love pizza and this is the way to go. So when you try this, I mean, gonna blow your friggin' mind. So get ready, we go to Motown, baby. Ooh, Lord, girl, here we go. So let me show you how to make the dough first, and then we're gonna do the sauce. Then we're gonna assemble this whole goddamn thing, and it's gonna be nuts. But before you get started doing anything whatsoever, okay, here's what you want to do. You want to preheat your oven, okay, because this thing's got to be ripping hot. So you want to be about 500 to 550 degrees. Basically, however high your oven goes before you hit broil. Mine, luckily, goes to 550, so I got that thing, you know, rocking and rolling. Let me show you how to do the dough. We'll do the sauce, the toppings, and we're all ready to go. So, hang out. This is going to be okay. Now for a pizza crust. So, in my mixer, I got about 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, since this is kind of like a Sicilian crust, this is perfect for that. Typically, in your local New York-style pizza shops, Sicilian is usually a combination of AP and 00 flour. 00 flour is a high-gluten flour. It's typically what you would make a Napolitan pie with, because you want it to stretch. But this isn't going to stretch. It's going to cook in a pan. All-purpose flour is fine. So, to my AP, I'm going to use about 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar. Okay, I'm going to add that right in to the mixing bowl. And then I have 1 teaspoon of rapid rise yeast. Don't confuse this with active dry. There's many different types of yeasts out there. Active dry is good. I use it for certain types of crusts. This doesn't require proofing. Active dry yeast does. So you can just add this right in. You don't have to proof it, and it does a fine job. So we're going to use, again, 1 teaspoon of rapid rise yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. It's that simple. And to this, we're going to add 1 cup of water. But first, what you want to do is you want to get this all incorporated, okay? So I got the dough hook attachment on my mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer like this, that's all right. You could do this in a food processor as well. So I'm just going to give this a few seconds just to get everything all incorporated nice. Okay. Now, with the water, it requires 1 cup of water, room temperature water. Since this is New York water, you know, the pie is going to be extra good. Now, I don't add the full cup right away. I add maybe about 3/4 of it, just to see how the humidity is. Sometimes you need a little more, sometimes 3/4 does the trick. Okay, so I'm going to start to add my water in here. And you just want this to kind of just, give it a second. It's going to come together. You might have to scrape the side down a little bit. Okay, which I'm going to do. All right, so you just want to just make sure everything gets incorporated and let the dough hook do the work. Okay, when this comes off the sides of the bowl, she's ready to go. Okay, so as you can see, it's making a nice little ball here. And then we can do the rest by hand. Pretty simple, right? See? Put this off so you can get a good look at how that looks. You see? It's a nice little ball. Now we're just going to put this on our bench and roll it out. Okay, so I got my baking board here. I'm just going to put a little bench flour down just so the dough don't stick. And we're not going to go too crazy with this. I'm just going to take my dough, and I just want to give it a couple of, just make a little ball, right? Should be a little pliable, a little sticky. And we're just going to give it a couple little kneads. And what this is going to do is just going to build some more gluten into the dough and give it those nice little airy pockets. So just, you want to grab it, push it over, spin it, grab it, push it over, spin it, grab it, push it over, and spin it. You don't want to go too much with this, because what happens is then it'll get too tough. Now, I got a bowl here that I oiled up with some extra virgin olive oil. I'm just going to get my dough coated in it nice. And I'm just going to let it proof in the bowl for about 2 hours. You want to stash this in a warm spot in the kitchen or in the house just to let it proof in about 2 hours. It'll double in size, and we punch it down, and we're going to roll it out in our pan. Okay, so as you can see, our dough's been proofing for a little over 2 hours. It's like doubled in size. So that's good. That's going to be a nice, light, airy, fluffy, yeasty kind of crust. So I got my Detroit pizza pan. What I did was I oiled the sides up so the cheese don't stick. Now you want to take some good olive oil. You don't have to go extra virgin on this, and you want to like really just, get a good amount of it down at the bottom of the pan, okay? Because like I said, what's going to happen is the crust is going to kind of fry in the pan as it's baking. So, and that's what gives it its uniqueness. So before we put our dough in the pan, you want to just punch it down, okay? Just let some of that air out, okay? Don't go too crazy. Just take your dough. Oh, it's nice and light. And we're just going to put it in our pan and just give it a little stretch, okay? We're going to let this relax in the pan so it kind of just like gets all, gets all comfortable in there. You want this dough to be comfortable. Okay, oh, this is going to be a nice. All right, so you just want to stretch it out a little bit. Just take your time with it. You want to go edge to edge, all right? So like I said, while this is resting in the pan, we get to work on our sauce. Okay, so there we go. So just let this just hang out in the pan for a little bit, okay? And then we'll come back to that. So just let it get nice and happy, get comfortable, move around, and then we're gonna go work on our pizza sauce. Okay, so the thing with pizza sauce is you want to keep it simple. I don't know, people get a little crazy with this shit. This isn't going on pasta, so it's not gonna be as complicated as a pasta sauce. You want it simple, you want it fresh, you want it light. Now, typically with a pizza sauce, I like it a little on the thinner side, but since this is a condiment, not a base, I'm gonna make it a little on the thicker side. So I got about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, you want your oil, you want your burner on about medium heat. Okay, and then to that we're gonna add 2 cloves of crushed garlic. So you just want this to start to saute until it gets fragrant. Okay, you gotta be careful because if you cook this too long, it's gonna burn and it's not gonna be good eating. So just let it go for a little bit. The garlic will tell you. It'll go, yo, man, I'm ready. You'll feel it. See, I'm starting to smell it already. So it's starting to get fragrant. There we go. All right, so to this I'm gonna add a 28 ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Okay, you don't want a puree here. You want a good, some good crushed tomatoes. Like I said, you want this a little bit on the thicker side because it is going to be a condiment. All right. So I'm just going to give this a little stir. All right. Now to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Use any Italian seasoning you want. You can make your own. I'm going to use the Emerald's Italian seasoning, okay? Because I think this is a pretty good blend. So you just want that in there. You're going to add a teaspoon of sugar, okay? Very important. The reason that you add sugar, this is a little controversial sometimes, is because we're not using fresh tomatoes. So we're using canned tomatoes. So the sugar, what it does is it neutralizes the acid in the tomatoes, and it actually brings out the flavor of the tomato product. So as you can see, it's very simple. Garlic, oil, some seasoning, a little sugar, and then we're going to season this with salt and pepper. Okay? Now, I'm using a tomato product that doesn't have salt added to it already. Okay, some of them do, some of them don't. So just make sure you know what you're using. Okay, you want to use a good quality tomato product. So to that, I'm going to add probably about a teaspoon of salt. You can always re-season later, okay? So I add about a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of black pepper. And before this is getting, it's already talking. Okay, so you want to keep this low. You're going to simmer this for about a half hour, okay? So we add our pepper, give this a little stir. All right. Get everything nice. Oh, I can smell that already. That smells nice. Simple. That's it. Okay, cover it. Let it go for about, I'm going to cover it a little askew. Let it go for about 25-30 minutes. Low heat. Just so it gets all incorporated and happy. And then we're good to go with this. Okay, so our sauce is done. I'm just letting that cool. Our dough is relaxed nicely in our pan. So as you can see, I got it all stretched out beautiful. Now let me talk to you about the toppings. All right. First off, the cheese. Now, I was surprised to learn this, but in Detroit, they don't use mozzarella on their pizzas. They use what's called Wisconsin brick cheese, which looks like mozzarella. It's a cow's milk cheese, so it's got the same melting capabilities. You get the nice stringy pull. It's a white cheese, but from what I could now, Wisconsin brick cheese is kind of just like indigenous to that part of the world. Wisconsin, Michigan, St. Louis, that area. So, they don't have it down here. So I did a little reading to see exactly what the fuck this shit was. From what I could glean in my literature, it kind of has more of a flavor profile closer to Munster cheese, which makes sense because Munster cheese is also a cow's milk cheese. Melts just like mozzarella too. Now, listen, me being Italian, putting anything other than mozzarella on a pizza is like a fucking insomnia to me. So I don't know what the hell they're doing in Detroit, but this is New York, okay? We're going to use mozzarella. But to mimic the flavor profile of the Wisconsin brick cheese, because I want to keep this authentic, right? What I did was I'm going to mix in some Munster cheese in with the mozzarella. That's okay. I'll let that one go. Between you and me, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Every so often when I'm making like veal or chicken parm and I run out of mozzarella, in the past I've used Munster cheese to do it. I hate to admit this, it actually comes out better. Melts and browns just like mozzarella, but that little tanginess of the Munster cheese sets it over the fucking edge. Shh, don't tell nobody, because they'll revoke my fucking Guinea membership card, but every so often in a pinch it works. So, the second thing, pepperoni, right? Okay, so in the way they do this is they put they like double up on the toppings, which I got no problem with that. So they put a layer of pepperoni down on the crust first, then they put the cheese, and then they put more pepperoni on top. Now, they use what's called cup and char pepperoni, which I've seen this up in Buffalo too. So what you want to do is you want to get like stick. You don't use the pre-sliced shit. You want to get stick pepperoni in a natural casing, which most of the time that's what it comes in. You want to cut it in like 1/8-inch little round circles. Okay. So the idea here is it's going to like pucker up and char. So let's see. Hopefully I cut this thin enough that happens. The second thing with the cheese is they don't shred it. They cube it. So they use these little cheese cubes, okay? So what I did was I got a 16-ounce brick of mozzarella, cubed it up. I got about a half a pound of Munster cheese. I did the same thing. So like I said, I'm gonna spread that out. And now, like I said, but like I said earlier, the cheese goes right to the edge. So there's no like visible crust around the pizza. So it's all like the crust is actually melted cheese. It's fucking delightful. All right, so watch how this whole thing is going to go together, okay? So I'm going to just tilt you down here so you can see. Don't mind my sprained wrist. Adventures in shoveling. So here's our pizza pan with our crust. So I'm going to turn it like that so you see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is just right across with the pepperoni. Okay? And you just want to go edge to edge, Okay, let's actually move these over a little bit. Why not? Make room for friends. Okay, look at that. Ooh, Lord, girl. It's like keep playing with little pepperoni nipples. So we got our pepperoni down like that. Okay, and you're gonna do this all the way across. Okay, so we got our pepperoni all lined up, at least the first layer. Now the mozzarella. I'm gonna use all of this. Okay, so you want to just get. Try to figure out the best way to do this. Let's just use our hands. So remember what I said, you want to go edge to edge. Now I guess the cubes melt. I don't see, they say the cubes melt better. I mean, mozzarella melts like mozzarella. I don't know. But like I said, wanted to keep it authentic. So I'm just going to go right across with all the mozzarella. Okay, the more cheese the merrier. What do I fuck around, right? Like I said, I've been excited about this, man. You have no idea. I don't know why this has got me so excited. I think because it's like an inside-out pizza. I don't know. It kind of just titillated me there for a second. So like I said, you want to go right to the edge with your cheese. Okay, separate these cubes. because sometimes they get they stick together. Like, I'd like to know what was in the head of the guy who came up with this. Like, I mean, was he in a hurry? Was he drunk? Did he forget to put the sauce on? Just said, ah, fuck, I'll do it last. I don't know. So, there we go. Now we're going to do a Munster cheese. I'm not going to use all of this. I'm just going to kind of just like pepper it across here. I want to just mimic that taste of the Brit cheese. Like I'm saying, I'm hoping this is going to go edge to edge. The crust should rise nice. Beautiful thing about rapid rise yeast is you don't have to go through the pain in the ass of proofing it. Now, I'm used to doing that, but if you're not used to using yeast, it could be a little tricky because you could kill it. But this stuff should it proofed nicely. So I think we're going to be in good shape here. All right. You just want to cover this up nice. You want to make this pepperoni nice and comfortable. All right. Ooh, girl, you going to put cheese on everything, you know. I mean, it is Motown, right? I think maybe what I should do is like a whole series of pizza shows, like just different regional pizzas. Like, you know, I mean, obviously I can't do New York yet because my oven ain't hot enough. You need at least, 900 to 1,000 degrees to cook a New York pie. I mean, we ain't fucking around in New York, but I can still do like a Chicago deep dish, a Buffalo one, maybe St. Louis, who knows, all right? So there, we got our cheese all done. Now, again, pepperoni, they just love fucking double toppings. So what I'm going to do, actually, you know what? Before I do that, hold up. The sauce. All right, so you should really let your sauce cool as much as you can. I mean, I let it cool-ish. But it's a really simple pizza sauce, like I showed you. Went together pretty quick. And it's got a nice, light flavor to it, nice and bright. It's very simple. Actually, I mean, you could probably toss this with pasta, too. It wouldn't be bad. So if you have any left over, that's what you do. So like what they do is they just kind of just go right down they put a couple of racing stripes on it. Like I said, I think this is friggin' wild. So they go just, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe do a little one right in the middle here. That's it. That's the magic, right? Now, on top of that, you're going to add some more pepperoni. And this is where you want it to like cup and char. Okay? And then we're going to bake this in the oven at like 550 degrees, 500 degrees, whatever you got. Yeah, fuck it, I'm going to use all of this. And that's it. Should take about 20-25 minutes at that temperature. All right. I mean, look how pretty that looks, right? Come on, man. It's not like Biden now. Come on, man. Where am I? Okay, so we got more pepperoni the better, right? It's good for you. So we're going to finish assembling this. I'm going to pop this in the oven, 20-25 minutes, and we'll be ready to munch. I can't wait. Okay, so our pizza's out of the oven. It is looking glorious. Let me just give you a quick little shot of this here. Look at that. Look at that. You see the pepperoni cupped and charred? Now, granted, it's a little more well done than some of you might like it. I personally like my pizza well done. Didn't mean to do it this well done, but it's not burnt. It's still perfectly fine. At 550, maybe 20 minutes. Anyway, but I actually like the char. Okay, so it gives it a little character. So, like I said, our pepperoni puckered and cupped and charred just like I wanted it to. The cheese is nice and brown. I mean, you should smell this. Wow. So, regular pizza wheel. Let it cool for a few minutes. I go right down the middle here. Oh man, I can't wait to try this. This cheese crust is just... okay. All right. And then I'm just going to go right down the middle here. Like a regular Sicilian. Should I let this just sit a little longer? Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to do this little wedge right here. Okay. Okay. There we go. Now, let's plate this and let's mange. Okay, so I'm ready to dig in. I mean, just take a look at that. You see, like, look at the pepperoni and the cheese and the nice bright sauce. Oh, this is gonna be good. Before we eat, we gotta get a beverage to help wash this pizza down. What goes good with pizza? Beers. So, I got me a nice Yingling Flight, cold and crisp right out of the fridge, and I'm ready to mange. So I'm gonna take a little sip of my beer. Let's try this pie out. Okay, I'm excited. Wow. That little char gives it a nice crunch. The pan frying of the bottom of the crust actually helps the pizza keep its integrity. The dough is nice and springy, not too light, not too dense. Sauce is nice and bright. You get that punch of the pepperoni, and you know what the fucking kicker on this is? That little tang you get from the Munster cheese being mixed in. So I would imagine that Wisconsin brick cheese probably goes very nicely with this pie. Listen, I guess they know how to make a pizza in Detroit. That's all I can say. So, thanks for hanging with me tonight. Hope you get cracking in the kitchen, make yourself a little Detroit pizza, and go crazy. Go ahead, experiment with the toppings. Do whatever you want to do. And let me know how it comes out. So, until next time, thanks for stopping in at the Neighborhood Kitchen, and I'll see you when I see you.